Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back. So today's video, we're going to be talking about, I guess, what could be a controversial subject, although I don't think it is. But it is one of the reasons why I think so many riders are crashing. And I see these posts in the Facebook groups that I'm in, and I just see so many riders crashing. And of course, as I know very well myself, there are so many outside forces that are at play that you don't have any control over, that could just happen at any moment. But that is one of the #1 reasons why you should be using your vision to the fullest extent possible. You should always be scanning, you should always be analyzing body language of cars and things like that, so that way you're being proactive instead of reactive, which will give you a lot more of a chance to stay up on two wheels than not. So we're going to go through a couple of situations this morning. I'm out just riding around. I'll probably go up into Scottsdale today. Some of the traffic might be a little heavier than normal, so make sure you guys leave a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I don't normally ride in traffic like this, so at least drop me a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But let's get into the video. So in almost every single situation that you're in on a motorcycle, there is always, I repeat, always a reason to stay vigilant. Whether you're just on a road that's pretty wide open like I am right now, whether you stopped at a stoplight, there's nobody behind you, whatever the reason may be, they call it 360 situational awareness, and that refers to the fact that you know around a whole 360 degrees around you, front, back, side, left, right, 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, everywhere. You know where the cars are, you know what's going on around you. That way, if something was to happen, even if something happens in front of you, you know what's going on behind you, so you know that, oh, I know I can change lanes, I know I can hop over into this left lane now. And that is a super important thing that I think a lot of people overlook. So make sure you're always, I cannot stress this enough, always staying vigilant, even behind you, because it could save your life. So one thing that I always try to do when I'm approaching a stoplight like this is, one, I'm going to try to place myself in the gaps between the cars. So say somebody is coming up behind me, which I will be able to clearly see because I have my right mirror set up to where when I'm sitting at a stoplight, I have my hand on the clutch, I have my foot on the rear brake so my brake light stays illuminated, and I have this mirror right here, so it's a very clear view. I don't know if my GoPro, since it's at a different angle than my eyes, will pick it up, but it's a very clear view behind me. So if I see somebody that's approaching very quickly and I'm like, okay, this is a little odd, I have an escape path right here. I can get up in front and God forbid they hit the car in front of me, but they don't hit me and I have no protection. So in that situation, I would rather them hit the car. And as we start moving again, you guys can see that well, you guys might not be able to see, but I can see this person right here in this Nissan Versa. I can see that person's face in my mirror, where a lot of people tend to ride, like say right here, this is the blind spot of their car. They don't know, so if they're gonna get over, they're gonna get right over into you. So now let's say with this truck, you know, say he's going rather quick, or we're going the same speed, and I just can't seem to get out of his blind spot. Like, speed up, get out of his blind spot, make sure that he is going to be able to see you and nothing bad is going to happen. If he sees you, he's not going to accidentally, or a lot of people say cars are just out to get motorcyclists, when in reality they're not. It's just the motorcycle rider is not giving that car a chance to see them. Not every situation, of course, but there are so many avoidable situations, and it all comes down to making yourself visible to all the cars. So what a lot of this comes down to is putting yourself in the position to be seen, putting yourself in the position for an escape route. So in this particular situation, there's cars on all sides of me. There really is not a great escape route. And see, look how that person came right up in front of me, and then based off what I was doing, I was just cruising around. They came up right in front of me. well, right to the right of me, and they put myself right in their blind spot, so I naturally am going to speed up to make sure that they know that I'm still there. So it's all about putting yourself in position. So say these cars that are in front of me, the reason I'm riding in this, I think this is the number 1 portion of the lane, but I'm on the right hand part of my lane, and that's because I have a clear angle of view up in front of the road in front of me. I know what's coming. I know if another car is going to be hitting their brakes, so then I can anticipate hitting my brakes if they need to. So it's all about being proactive versus reactive. If I'm just kind of cruising, if I'm just right here behind this truck, blah-de-da-de-da, looking around, oh, that's a cool restaurant, those are cool apartments. Yeah, they are, but look, I can't see anybody in front of me hardly. If people are hitting their brakes, if somebody slams on their brakes, if there's road debris, I'm not going to know until the very split second that the truck is going over it, and then that is when I have to react instead of being proactive when I know it's already coming. So as long as you're always being conscious of the cars around you, the placement of yourself around those cars, looking for an outlet, somewhere to escape, somewhere to exit, whether that's speeding up, whether that's slowing down, it doesn't matter. If you need to speed up 20 miles an hour to get out of a situation, who cares if it's going to save your life? Like, it doesn't matter if you break the speed limit if that's going to save your life. And if you get all that stuff on video, like I'm recording everything right now, and of course, y'all watch this. This shit goes into effect next week, so we breaking the law technically. But I don't record everything all the time, but if you do, you have that video footage. And not to mention, everybody's in a rush these days. Everybody, I don't know if it's just Arizona, I'm sure it's everywhere, but everybody is it's just a mad rush to get wherever they're going. So they don't care if they're going to be cutting you off. They don't care if whatever the case may be. They do not care about motorcyclists. So get that ingrained in your mind that it is the #1 thing whenever you go out to ride, that you need to come back alive. And to do that, you need to be proactive. So even in a setting right here, there are ways that you can anticipate the lights, right? So if you see that you're coming up, obviously this light coming up here is red already. But if you see that you're cruising through 3 or 4 lights, they're all green, 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 the likelihood that one of those lights is going to turn red is pretty high. So if you're anticipating it, you're not going to have to slam on your brakes last minute to slow down. And now it's time for the good stuff. So now that we're getting on the highway, almost all the same principles are going to be applying as to what we did earlier. And whether you're commuting on a busy highway like this or riding on an open highway. So I'm trying to see first where the cars are behind me so I can merge. One of the things that I'm going to try to do here early is get all the way over into the HOV lane. So one thing that I always try to do, we're going to go ahead and shoot it, and I'll kind of explain this, is I always try to ride just barely ahead of the flow of traffic. So I'm always going to be trying to go a little bit quicker. There's always going to be people going faster, of course, but for the most part, like 85 to 90 to 95 is a very comfortable speed on the highway for me. So I do that because I'm the one making the decisions instead of other people making the decisions around me. And that's just my personal opinion on how I like to ride. Not everybody has to ride like that, but in my situations, I have seen that to be the most helpful for me. And the next thing I want to talk about, which I guess a lot of people do not know, see, I'm constantly checking my mirrors to make sure there's nobody behind me. I'm constantly making sure people aren't going to get over into this lane. But I want to talk about why or not why, but it is legal. It is 100% legal for motorcycles to ride in the HOV lane, in the carpool lanes. I know 100% for a fact it is legal in Arizona. You need to look up in your own home state if it is not legal, or if it is legal. I don't even know if all states have HOV lanes. I think it's just like bigger cities, but it is legal. And the reason I opt for this lane over any other lane is because I only have traffic on the right side of me right now. I don't have to worry about a goddamn thing on my left. So that cuts my risk basically 50%, right? I don't have to worry about that stuff. So if I could cut my risk, if I can minimize my risk in whatever way possible, why would you not do that? So now let's say you live in a state that doesn't have an HOV lane, right? You can always ride in the furthest left lane if you want, but there's always going to be times where that's not available at the time, right? So one thing I'm always trying to do is make myself visible. Like, I can see this guy in the Tesla, I can see this person here in the white Nissan, and I'm not just gonna go with the flow of traffic. I'm gonna continually try to be ahead of that traffic, and as I'm doing that, I'm always looking ahead for the next cars that I'm approaching. I'm not stuck on those ones, I'm not stuck on what's behind me, although I'm checking. All I'm really checking for is there an object? If I'm looking in my mirrors, I'm not like, oh, that's a sick-ass Corvette, right? No. I'm looking to see, is there an object there that could hurt me? And then react to that and get yourself in the right position. And the same thing applies as earlier, so I'm going to be placing myself in the gaps of these cars so I have a clear line of sight as to what's ahead. If there's a piece of lumber in the road or a piece of whatever in the road, you know, I'm giving myself the chance to see it a lot sooner. That way I know, oh, I could just hop over into the next lane and completely avoid it no matter what. Like, look at the path of travel that I have straight in front of me. I can see for a very long distance, whereas right here there is a very minimal visible viewing angle for me to see what's ahead. So always opt for the viewing angle that's going to give you the best vision down the road. And I guess this would kind of be a reasonable time to talk about cornering and where you're going to go depending on where you're looking. So if you just look to the right, you're most likely going to veer off to the right. So that's like another, that could be a whole nother video as to how to use your vision. But essentially, and I think most people know this, so I'm not really going to get into it too much, but you have to use your vision. You have to look where you want to go in order to go that way, and I'd say 99% of the time it's going to work out for you. Alright guys, well that is going to wrap up this video on using your vision to stay proactive and not reactive. It really is a very simple concept, but if you're still a little confused, I highly suggest there's probably tons and tons of videos out there to watch. So do your research, learn the proper ways in which to use your vision on a motorcycle, and I guarantee you, you will be way safer than a majority of the other riders that do not do that. So without further ado, thank you guys again so much for watching. We really appreciate it. See, look, this guy, I was expecting him to pull out in front of me. It happens all the time. But anyways, thanks again guys. Leave a big thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.